How'd you all enjoy the film? Yeah. My name is James. I'm the host of Raiders of the Lost podcast. I work with Spotify, and they invited me to host this wonderful panel for Kpop Demon Hunters with some of the creatives here. Round of applause. We're joined by Michelle Wong, who produced the film from Sony Pictures Animation. Ray Ami, who's the artist and singer behind Zoe. And then Kathleen Scher, president of Jaded, as well as just a multimedia powerhouse. Welcome.
Thank you.
I personally found this film very relatable because I too love spending time on my couch. Now, Michelle, Kpop Demon Hunters was announced all the way back in 2021. Can you speak about how the film originated as well as bridging that gap between Sony and Netflix?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. So this is an original story by one of our directors, Maggie Kang. She was working at Sony, and they had asked her to pitch some ideas. So she came up with the idea, which was mostly around demon hunting. Thought about, she wanted to see a group of women that were obviously Asian and in a different light than you would see them in a Marvel movie. So that was her first thought. And then the K-pop of it all kind of came second. Like, she's obviously Korean. She grew up in Korea and then moved to Canada. But K-pop has always played a big part of her life. And thinking about making a musical and knowing that this was Maggie's first time directing. She didn't really know what she was getting into because making musicals are very, very hard. But I'm glad that she did. So once Netflix bought the movie, we were considered what they call a partner-managed movie. So they had they had approval rights over a lot of the hiring and a lot of the story ideas. So every step of the way, they are our partners. And for me as a producer, I actually had just spent a year at Netflix. And as a producer, I'm naturally over communicator, which is kind of necessary as a producer. But it was very difficult because I had been at Sony for 22 or 23 years, and knowing my Sony people, it was very easy. But it was basically that I was working for two studios at the same time. So having to interact with executives at both studios across the board was definitely challenging at times and frustrating. But also, I was just talking to the president of Netflix today just about the process. And in animation, we firmly believe that the tension really creates better storytelling, because it's, you need someone to have counteract with your ideas and challenge you. And I think that's one of the reasons why the movie is so successful.
Yeah, and who would have thought? I thought Sinners would be the only culturally significant supernatural genre musical this year. It's a mouthful. I came up with that. Congratulations, amazing job. Now, Kathleen, how did Jada get involved in the project, and eventually how did Ray get involved?
So we came in a bit later. So it was actually kind of, a funny story, lots of coincidences that happened. But Jojo, shout out Jojo, came to Jaded's festival that we did at South by Southwest last year. And Ray was on the lineup along with Audrey Nuna, and Jojo, I actually hadn't even met at the time. He told me later that he was supposed to stay for just a couple hours. He ended up staying for 9 hours at the festival. So he loved the lineup so much. And it was funny enough, that was the first time he met Audrey in person, and she had already been cast as Mira. And they were really struggling with casting Zoe. And so after seeing our lineup and seeing our curation, he had reached out to us and was just like, hey, do you have someone who can sing and rap in Korean and English? And we didn't get very many details, but immediately we were like, it's Rayami. It has to be her. And, for many reasons. And it's funny now. And in some ways, I kind of feel like Zoe was written for her. Because if you, that part when they introduced her and she's like, oh, she's the maknae. And but when she gets on the mic, she gets really scary and like all that stuff. And it's like, in Ray's bio is literally Hello Kitty with a knife. So you might as well. It's like the same way of saying, the same thing. So anyway, it was just funny. It just felt really meant to be. And obviously she loves animation. She loves anime. And so like when this opportunity came to us, we were like, we have to put her forward. We cobbled together like a bunch of different social media videos and like all this stuff to just show the team that she is the one. And so we were really excited when Ian, the executive music producer, came back and was like, we really want her to audition, because we knew that if that given the opportunity, she would kill it. And obviously she did. And here she is. So
amazing job.
And just so everyone knows here, so Jojo Villanueva is part of the Sony music team. And without the Sony music team, this movie wouldn't have existed. Spring Asper's the president, along with Jojo, really helped us find this amazing talent across the board. And like Kathleen says, when we first heard her demo and saw her, we're like, it was right away. We're just like, that is our Zoe. Because we had already cast Ji Young for the voiceover. And we were just like, she's perfect. Like, she is our Zoe.
Zoe, oh my gosh. Ray, so you're exploring multiple types of your musical talent here, rapping, singing. What was it like to bring that to your identity for the character of Zoe?
It felt very natural. The way because initially when I did get the audition, I didn't get too much background on Zoe, and the material that I was given to audition was just bits and pieces of every song. And there were parts, now looking back, there were like roomy parts and like parts that were way beyond my range. And I submitted the audition, but I didn't submit one part. I was just like, sorry, like, can't hit that note. This is what I got. And it worked, and they loved it. And I think because the more I learned about Zoe and who she is and how she is the magnet, she's so sweet. But the moment you put her on stage, she becomes like this demon, essentially, so powerful. And you wouldn't expect that from a magnet, but I am a magnet of my family. I am Korean American. And so all of these parts about her, not just her contributions and position in Huntrix, I just felt every bit of her rage and frustration and her notebooks. Like, that's me, like the rapping and the scary, but also I can get sad and really soft. And it just became so natural. And when they were just like, okay, just go off, I was like, okay, I'll go off. Are you sure? And they're like, harder. I was like, okay. And it was really freeing because although we are very similar, this is a whole production. This is a whole separate character, separate entity. She has her story. She has her own voice. The lyrics, the words, melodies are already given, and I just have to sing it, right? So there was a lot of freedom almost in that I don't have to present as myself, and I just have to be this character and embody who she really is. And thank God she's very similar to me. It makes the job very much easier, but very easy. But yeah, it felt very natural, and I'm just so glad that now people, like, when they hear the music and they see my face as Zoe, they're like, oh my God, it makes sense. And it just is so validating.
Hello Kitty with a knife. I love it. Now, Huntrix, I don't know if you know this, has become the first girl group to reach #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 since Destiny's Child. How's that feel, Ray?
It still has not set in. I listened to I'm a Survivor by Destiny's Child today because I am quite the survivor. I feel like many of you are in this industry. And it was, first of all, I'm a Survivor was the first Destiny's Child music video I watched in second grade when I wasn't supposed to. And so seeing that headline was a total full circle moment. And also, like Michelle mentioned, it is an original story. It's a huge risk for any studio to take on such an original story, let alone an original soundtrack. And for it to see the success, we're still beating records. How many records have we broken? I don't know. We're still counting. It is, I don't know how to process this. I haven't. I have not bawled yet because every day there's something new to process. And I'm like, I still haven't gotten over the fact that we charted. That we were 81. I'm still on that. I haven't processed the number one yet. You got to call me back in like a month.
I've never been number one on the podcast charts, but maybe one day. I'll let you know. Now, I have a question about when it comes to writing music for this film. So how are you, what are the difficulties with creating the songs for, I guess, all three of you, where you're trying to write the song for the story, for the themes of the film, versus just generating like kind of a one-off pop single?
It was very difficult. Spring and her team, Jojo and her team put together, got us amazing tastemakers, amazing music producers and songwriters in the K-pop community. So we had the Black Label, we had, which is known for Blackpink. We had Jenna Andrews and Stephen Kirk, who have written some BTS songs, as well as Lindgren, who also writes Twice songs and BTS songs. So we had three different music teams, and it was difficult because they all could write catchy hooks as you do for pop songs, but they are not accustomed to writing songs with narrative, which means in animation, because the stories we're crafting the story over 4 or 5 years, and once they got on, which was a span of 3 years, we had to the story was constantly changing. So to go back to them time and time again to help rewrite a song because the story was changing was very challenging, and to help them write songs with catchy hooks and narrative was new for them and for us. So was that the first?
No, you're nailing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Great job. Yeah. Do any of you two have anything to add in terms of that?
We weren't a part of that process.
Okay. Well, let me get a question for both of y'all to be a part of. So I got some more stats here. Kpop Demon Hunters quickly became Netflix's most watched animated film of all time. It earned 80 million views in just 3 weeks. 60 days later, it's Netflix's number one movie. Over 850,000 people have logged this movie on Letterboxd, which is a lot. That's just people who have the app and actually log, let alone people who have watched it. Now, the music is killing, top on the charts. Kathleen and Ray, why do you think this movie is resonating so deeply with audiences, old, young, around the world, every demographic?
I think it's pretty simple. The story is just embracing your flaws, right? That two polar opposite things can coexist and almost be harmonious, and that you cannot have one without the other. And from such a young age, this is the reason why children are freaking out, and I think adults are freaking out even more, is that from such a young age, society pushes us into these boxes, and a lot of us, we succumb and we surrender. But those brave enough to fight against it, they change the world. And I think that story of being told who you are, being told how to feel, this is and this is what you're going to do. And we can resonate from Asian families. I mean, the concept of bringing dishonor and shame into your family because you're not a doctor. Ugh, we know that. Or just in general, just not feeling accepted. If you're gay or white, straight, black, white, just being othered, ostracized for who you are. We all know what that feels like. And I think not only in just the writing of the film and the dialogue, but the music, like the narrative. Like, why did I cover the colors stuck inside my head? Why did I ever dim my light? For who? Why? Because I was afraid? Absolutely not. Not a good enough reason. And so I think it really just touches the deepest parts of us where it brings us to a time where we felt shamed, embarrassed, whatever. And I think it just reminds us that that's not true. And we have to create our own narratives and our own stories and our own voices. And we can't silence our own voice. And I think that's why people are like, wow, I feel so seen and heard by this film. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, I think what Michelle was saying earlier, which is the fact that, this is these are pop songs, right? These are K-pop songs or pop songs. But the difference is they were made for movie. And so there's a narrative behind it. And just like all the beautiful messages that Ray just shared that this music is telling. Like that's unfortunately not really what you hear in normal pop songs. And so like to be able to kind of marry the two where you're having a really beautiful message and you're also making it really catchy and really like, you can sing along to it, that I think is just really unique. And I feel like I consider like great art that like evolves with you over time, right? So like as you're a kid, if you're a kid watching this movie, you kind of just get the essence of what these songs are about. Maybe you don't fully understand like what they're saying or really what it means, but like it will grow with you and then it'll evolve with you and then you appreciate different aspects of it and like you see different parts of it. And like, at the very core, a 4-year-old and a 40-year-old are still kind of appreciating the same aspects. It's different, right? Because we all still have our inner child like inside of us. But at the same time, we've grown and we've had all these different experiences and we're viewing it in a different lens. And yeah, I think like to instill all of that in a pop song is incredible. And I think like Disney has done that obviously in some ways in the past with, Let It Go, Reflection, Colors of the Wind. Like these aren't songs that would be pop songs just like existing on the radio if they didn't come from a movie, didn't come from a story. And so yeah, I think it's been a long time since we've had a really well-written, well-performed like pop song coming from a movie, but they nailed it. So
Amazing job. And Kathleen, can you talk about Jaded and the studio's creative mission and how it connects to the film?
Yeah, so I think this whole opportunity and situation and everything that happened with this is just like the most ultimate manifestation of what we do. And so if people that aren't familiar, Jaded, we're a unique like creative development company for artists. And we never lead with cultural identity. It's always about like artistry, creativity, and talent first. But we do work with Asian artists. And it's, to help break barriers for them in Western markets. And so, using our industry expertise and our network and experience with our cultural fluency and also like our curation, like we're constantly looking for emerging artists that, need support, need a platform, and being able to help develop them and help create these opportunities for them so that they can get to the next milestone of their career is just like that's the focal point of everything that we do. And so, being able to work with Ray and when I met her a few years prior, like she was in a very different place in her career, as a Korean American female artist. I think a lot of the people that saw this talent in her were excited about her, but just didn't know where to put her and like how to support her. And it was, really frustrating for me as a fan to see like people just drop the ball, honestly. And so I think, being able to put her, on the stage at South by, get her seen by people like JoJo so that an opportunity like this could come along. And, obviously we couldn't predict that it would become as successful as it did so quickly. But at the same time, we knew that it was going to be something big for her and something monumental for her. And so, yeah, we're just grateful to be along for the ride. But also at the same time, like, I think, again, it's the work was laid down for this and everyone kind of rose to the occasion. And that's, a great thing about collaboration. So
why I think that our movie has really made an impact is because of our commitment to being authentic to the Korean culture. And I think that's one of the reasons why the world, it's appealing to the world, because it doesn't feel forced. And it doesn't feel like have this specific message that we're trying to be, to really force the representation. Because we were so authentic, the movie really shows the Korean culture naturally. And I feel like that's why it resonates with everybody.
Anyone else? Well, no, go for it.
Yeah, like Michelle said, I think this movie does an incredible job. Like down to the details, even in the opening scene, in the golden music video, like the backdrop that Rimi's singing in front of, like when she opens it. It's a very famous painting. I forgot what it's called, but it's where like the kings would sit in front of, signifying royalty. And I took an art history class in college, and I remember a unit in like classical East Asian art history, and I remember seeing that photo in one of my books, and to see that photo, to see that just in the golden music video. And most people would just skip past it, but if you're Korean, if you know your culture and your history, those little glimpses mean so much to you, because it's not just like, oh, it's K-pop and it's a Korean flag and it's BTS. No, it's not just ramen and Shinram. Shout out Nongshim, I love you. Yeah, you know, it's not just about what's trendy and Korean. It touches on our history, our art, what led to all of this. It touches on so many details that I appreciated truly so much, because I feel like that also elevated the movie and made it so successful and resonate even deeper.
Yeah, I mean, the length that we went to commit to the Korean culture was really extensive. Like, we had a lot of our crew was Korean. And, you know, like the art that you're talking about, we have a team of artists that design everything. Like, everything you see in the movie is designed. And obviously the food was important, but even the placement of like the utensils and like...
hot dog.
Huh?
You had hot dog in the thing.
And like the food that was, you know, when they go into the flashbacks and then they see the royalty, like that food was very specific as well. Like, everything was vetted. We have a team of Koreans, but it's like we needed a cultural consultant as well that helped us with the historical meaning behind things, and made sure that, you know, like you could make a simple mistake as far as like when we go to the flashback of seeing Rumi's mom's grave, we were very specific about where we placed everything on the tombstone. Yeah.
Were there any strong influences on this film? I definitely picked up on Powerpuff Girls. I watched that a lot when I was a kid, as well as Charlie's Angels, I kind of felt, and Bong Joon-ho films specifically, blending genres, socio-economic issues involved. So are there any other direct inspirational films or projects that inspired the movie, and music as well?
Sailor Moon was a big inspiration. Yeah, Sailor Moon was a big inspiration, and then definitely Bong Joon-ho. We're all fans of Bong Joon-ho. Maggie's a big fan of Bong Joon-ho. And then also K-dramas. Like, K-dramas were a huge inspiration. Like, that was like kind of like when we would pitch the movie, it would be like part K-pop, part K-drama.
This movie's on fire.
And that's why we hired An Hyo-sup. An Hyo-sup, who plays Jinwoo, is a famous actor, and he is in a series called Business Proposal. That's one of his most famous K-dramas.
Yeah. The internet's screaming for a sequel. Is there talks happening for a sequel? Maybe live action? Maybe a theatrical release? Because I think people would have loved to see this in the theater outside of here. What do you think?
The theatrical release is in 2 weeks.
Oh, is it really?
We're doing a sing-along.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
So it's in theaters, all 600 theaters around the country and in the UK. I don't know. I think the tickets went on sale this morning at 6 a.m. They went out. They sold out within like a few hours, and they added like 8 more showings per theater. And I think my husband checked just before I got here, and tickets were almost gone already.
They did that for Wicked too, right? As well.
Yeah.
Wicked, yeah. The sing-along theater experiences. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, if you did a sequel, where would you like to see Huntrix go in the K-pop universe with the Demon Hunters? What would all three of you want to see from it?
World tour. I want a world tour. I want background on how the girls met. Is Zoe's parents divorced? What colors is she choosing from? Which 2 lives? Which 2 sides? I need answers now. Why was Mira a problem child? Did she get arrested? For what? A misdemeanor or what else? Like, I need the details now. And also, I want to meet Mira's family, parents. Like, why are you hurting? Like, why are you mean to this girl? Like, stop. What's your issue? But yeah, I just want to know what the details are with the girls and also world tour.
Kathleen, you want to say anything for the future or prequels, or what are you thinking?
I mean, I think everyone wants to see the Rumi Gino kiss happen, right? that was like such a tease. We were just waiting for that moment, and what happened?
It's like the end of Twisters. I'm so disappointed.
He just dies at the end.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on the stage. Thanks everyone for coming, Spotify for having us. That was a ton of fun. Congratulations on the movie. It's incredible.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.